That title wasn't a mistype. This is indeed the Sony DPT panel that we saw earlier this year at a trade show in Tokyo, Japan. It's 10.3 inches, has a universal Wacom digitizer, you can use any pen, and it's running the latest E INK Kaleido 2 technology. The only difference is that Sony didn't actually end up bringing it to the market. Bigme did. Bigme was launched in 2020 with the Bigme B1 Pro Color. It featured a 10.3-inch Kaleido 1 screen with a Wacom layer. This is the Plus. It's the second generation, and it's fully in English. The screen is more advanced, and it has Android 11. So today we're going to be looking at two things: the Bigme device itself, and the DPT color panel that Sony was supposed to release to the world. Let's start off with the color panel. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. The color is vibrant. Gone away is the puffiness and overall washed out look of the Kaleido 1 technology. The overall grayness still exists a little bit, but that's just the inherent problem with Color E INK, regardless of make or model. Take special note as to where the colors meet each other. The bordering is perfect. There's no mushing or blending where there shouldn't be. Everything looks crisp and vivid. The Bigme has amazingly low latency, which means it's pretty fast. Furthermore, you can craft the experience the way you want it to look by altering the glow light. This is easily one of the highest quality color screens we've seen. The Bigme pen is very nice, but don't let the USB at the back fool you. You don't need to charge this pen in order to use it. This pen works as is. In fact, this pen will work on any other Wacom device, and any other pen will work on the Bigme. The charging is simply for the Bluetooth connectivity that this pen exclusively has to change pages, to power up and on the device, and other methods of using these secondary and tertiary buttons. You don't need to charge the pen to use it. You can use the Fujitsu pen, you can use the Onyx Air pen first or second generation, and you can even use the Supernote Heart of Metal or standard pen. After many conversations back and forth between Good e-Reader and Bigme, it finally happened. The device is in English. It'll be fully in English from everything from the top bar all the way to the side elements, so you can rest assured that you can now change the language. Looking at the top bar, you have all of your drop-down items, screenshots, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. You also have different modes we'll show you in a little bit: HD mode, normal mode, and speed mode. Also here you have speed up, which relieves all of the memory and deletes everything in the background, like everything that is running that you haven't closed yet. Here is your glow light, and you have your glow light right here as well. You can do alignment as well, that will always constantly balance everything, or you can turn alignment off and you can do each one individually and get a warm or very cool experience. The floating ball is on the side here. You can remove it, but it does have some very nice options to it, like power off, settings, and home and back. We won't spend too long on this, but it can read books, of course, because this is running 128 gigs. You can sideload your own books. You can go ahead and just load them on here and they work right away. You can also draw on them right out of the gates. You do have some things you can do with long presses. You can do highlights, annotations, notes. However, the language is going to depend on what app you're using. So the preloaded app X Reader is only going to be in Chinese, therefore all of the settings are in Chinese. But it does look quite nice, and it actually looks a lot better than the first generation that was running Kaleido 1. The colors are very rich and vibrant, Everything loads really quickly, page turns are much quicker, and you can write right on the PDFs right out of the gates. You don't have to set up any sort of sketching or scribbling application of any kind, although you do have a lot of those options here, like the palette and whatnot. We will save this for the note-taking experience, but for the most part, even if you are on a side-loaded PDF, you can go ahead and choose the red, and you can grade papers by pressing X, for example. You can go back and choose multiple colors, multiple erasers. You can go light blue and color in light blue. So it's very customizable even inside loaded content. You don't have to worry about any sort of lack of features. You also have the typical scale, rotate, crop, contrast. Everything will be located right here. Again, it is going to depend on what app you load onto this. You don't have to use the stock reading applications. This is going to be the primary focus because this is why we're here. Large screen note-taking. To date, the Bigme line is the only device to be larger than 7.8 that has any sort of note-taking capabilities. The E INK Stone is 10.1, but as far as we're concerned, that's not even a real product at the date of this upload because it's just not out. You have 3 different pens: pen, pencil, and brush. They're all going to look the way they're supposed to look. Pencil's going to look very gritty and sandy, and brush is going to take advantage of that pressure sensitivity and have a very good bleed to it. You have a large amount of colors. You actually have 16 colors to choose from. A couple lilacs, some purples, and a bunch of others. It's quite nice the amount of colors they give you, and the overlap is unintrusive. You can see that there's no bleeding, and they have a very clear border to where the pen overlaps each other. It's a very good experience, and you're not going to have that lack of technological advancement that Kaleido 1 had, because Kaleido 2 did bring a lot of new advancements to the table. It's using an overall better color array filter. Everything is more crisp and clear. It's a very usable experience in the real world. You do have some ways to erase. You have track, range, and all. You can utilize the button on the pen to do range erase like that, area erase, and this is also a Bluetooth pen. We'll show you a little bit later. You have some options there. You have undo and redo. You also have text options as well, so you can type something out like so, click confirm, and then it will be placed in the middle of the screen, in which case you can move it around, etc. You also have the ability to put art down here, so you can go to photo, and once you do, it'll scan your entire device for all the images you have on there. So if we choose a car, for example, we can place it in the middle, we can expand it, we can do a check mark and land it like that. You can go over to your color palette and maybe choose a nice yellow with a pencil brush, and then you can continue to draw on the clip art you have put on the middle of your canvas. You have 23 different backgrounds: calligraphy, lattice, meeting, notes, grids, and if you click something, it immediately conforms that page to that, and you can swap them out live. You don't have to make a new note every single time like a Sony DPT. You can change them on the fly. Unfortunately, the share doesn't work properly because if you go to the QR code sharing, it will tell you to log in, and in order to log into the specific Bigme sharing app, you need a Chinese phone number. So unfortunately, that doesn't fly on this device, but you can export your notes. You can see right here, export file with a PNG or a PDF. You have insert page number, you can rotate, you can name the file, and you can transfer the text as well, which we're gonna show you right now. So it actually transliterates it, not translates it. Now it is going to do an original recognition, which basically means it's going to put it in line with how you wrote it. So for example, the way you write it there, it's going to put the Peter below hello like so. So it does need some work, but it is not bad to have that, because a lot of devices are actually restricting you, like the Remarkable, in which you have to actually pay for the service and the privilege to do handwriting recognition. Now for the note-taking feel, which we'll touch on. The feel is a little bit rubbery. As you're moving it around, you do have a decent amount of grittiness, but it's also mixed in with a little bit of stickiness. The nib itself is more like a Stadler nib in that it is a little bit on the rubbery / sticky side. The writing experience is good, but it's not going to feel as gritty as a Fujitsu or an Onyx or a Remarkable, for example, so keep that in mind. Because this pen is Bluetooth, you do have some other things you can do with it. For example, you can do page turns with it as well. So if you tap the buttons here, because they have a page forward and back, you can turn pages with the pen. It is running Android, so you can sideload in applications like OneNote, for example, although unfortunately, unlike the Onyx Books devices, it's not optimized, which means the Bigme note-taking software is going to be great, but when it comes to OneNote, you can see it's incredibly laggy, so I wouldn't really recommend doing it, although you could.
So it's been raining non-stop for the past like 4 days. I haven't been able to do anything on this, but here it is, the cappuccino. So first thing you do on any card.
When we saw the Sony DPT panel February of 2021, we were thrilled, and so were all of you guys. But that's not to say that we're let down that it's on a Bigme device. Bigme has definitely made its own place in the e-reader world by offering a large screen color note-taking device when no one else has. The fact that this is running the DPT color panel that Sony was supposed to release is a fantastic thing to think about. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.